Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching GNR Central. Yeah!
Hey everybody, what's going on, and welcome to GNR Central. And today I want to do a video about the music video for November Rain. Now, it's arguably Guns N' Roses' best music video. In fact, it's one of the best music videos of all time, and it's the only song from before the 2000s on YouTube that's got over 1 billion views. So let's take a look at the details you may have missed in the November Rain music video. So I already did one for Don't Cry and Estranged, and let's get started with November Rain. Now, the music video opens up with Axl about to go to bed. He takes his pill and then he gets ready for bed. Now, you'll notice in this scene you can see a bottle of alcohol, you can see water as well as an ashtray and his pills. But the next scene where we see Axl in bed, you'll notice that all of the things on his table are missing. So unless his maid came and took him away, I'm guessing that they must have not noticed this when they were editing the video. The next scene is a shot in the Orpheum Theater in Los Angeles. Originally, the music video was supposed to be shot at Carnegie Hall in New York City, but for whatever reason, they ended up scrapping that idea. There's another continuity mistake in the video when you see Slash for the first time. You'll notice there's a cigarette in his left hand, and then immediately in the next shot, the cigarette's all of a sudden in his right hand. The shot of the church that's in the middle of the desert, it's not just a church, it's also apparently a graveyard, as you can notice the tombstones surrounding the church on both sides, not only during this scene but also during Slash's guitar solos outside. The jacket that Axl's wearing during the live performance is the same jacket you see at the beginning of the Don't Cry video. Some fans think that the November Rain video actually comes ahead of Don't Cry in the trilogy of songs. The crying Jesus is a metaphor that's used a lot in the video, and we'll get more to that later on in this video, but blood is used quite frequently because if you guys have ever read the short story Without You, which was written by Del James that inspired November Rain in the music video, then you would know that the girlfriend, or I guess the wife in the music video, ends up dying at the end, and if you read the short story, she ends up taking her own life. We have another continuity mistake before the drums come into the song. So if you guys follow Matt Sorum pretty closely in the video, you'll notice sometimes he's playing a different part of the song than what's synced up with the actual audio. So when they show the maestro, you can see Sorum in the background twirling his sticks, and then all of a sudden he hits the snare drum, and this doesn't really make any sense because the drums aren't even in the song yet. Now, when the drums do come in, you'll notice that Sorum plays it differently in the live performance than on the record. The first drum hit is on the rack tom, not on the snare like he does in the video. The first scene of the church where the wedding takes place between Axl Rose and Stephanie Seymour was actually done in Los Angeles at a place called the St. Brendan's Church, which is still around and still does services to this day. Fast forward now to the first scene with Axl Rose's then-girlfriend, Victoria's Secret model Stephanie Seymour. Now, this was a pretty popular wedding dress following the release of the video, and she'd previously been in the Don't Cry video, so her dress was designed by Carmela Sutera, and it cost about $8,000 and inspired lots of cheap knockoffs back in the day. The scene where we see the priest for the first time, that is an actual priest who was a friend of Axl's, and he was a priest named Gian Antonio. Now, he performed his last service at the St. Brendan's Church. This next scene where we see the band at the Rainbow Bar and Grill, you can briefly see Dizzy Reed's wife wearing Slash's top hat, and there's a quick second shot of Teddy Zigzag Andreatis, who was part of the backing band for Guns N' Roses during the Use Your Illusion tour from late 1991 to early 1993. Going back to the wedding scene, you can see some more members of Guns N' Roses backing band, including Tracy and Roberta, followed by a shot of Dizzy Reed and his then wife, as well as Gilby Clarke and his wife Daniela, who are still married to this day. All of the wedding reception and wedding ceremony scenes is drummer Matt Sorum. So he was going through a pretty serious drug problem at the time of the filming of these scenes, and here's what he had to say about his absence from those parts of the video.
Yeah, the November Rain video, I wasn't in that much because I was trying to kick drugs, and I walked into the trailer, and I remember Billy Idol was there, and Duff, and all the guys, and I remember there being a big pile of cocaine. It looked something like that movie Scarface, you know? And I just I said, oh my God, you know, and I was trying to quit. which was very difficult when there was a big pile like that. And I remember I went over to Andy and I said, Andy, I don't think I can make it through this video because there's just too many good drugs around. It's either I go back on drugs or I don't do the video. So he said, well, maybe you should go home. So the wedding scene, when they're getting married, I'm not in. And then the wedding party, I'm not in. And after November Rain came out, I remember it being this huge video and kind of being a little bit bummed out that I wasn't able to make it through without, I didn't have a lot of willpower. It's really the problem, you know. I just, but in retrospect, I wish I could have been in more of the scenes of the video.
Now, going into Slash's first solo, you'll notice there's a lot of crosses in this video. So just before Slash goes into his first solo, you can see Dizzy Reed's wearing a cross, and then there's almost an identical one that Slash is wearing. And then during the background with the church, you can notice there's 2 crosses on the church as well. So during the first guitar solo and second guitar solo, an oversight you may have noticed is that Slash's guitar isn't plugged into anything. There's not even a wireless receiver. Fast forward now to the wedding reception scenes, which were filmed just outside of LA at the Villa del Sol de Oro, which still exists today and actually has a lot of wedding receptions and other events. In fact, you can go to their website and probably send them an email and see how much it would cost you to have an event there. During the reception scenes, you'll see a brief glimpse of Ricky Rackman, who was then the host of Headbangers Ball and was a good friend of Axl's. He also owned the Cat Club back in the day in Los Angeles, and he was the first MTV DJ, or I should say VJ, to introduce or premiere November Rain live on MTV.
Now is the time that you've all been waiting for. Now is the time that the entire world has been waiting for. It's the world premiere of Guns N' Roses' November Rain video, or November Rain film, if you will. A little bit about the song November Rain. November Rain is actually one of the oldest Guns N' Roses songs. I mean, it was done even before Appetite for Destruction was put out. And back in the old days, it used to be like 15 minutes long. I remember anytime you would get Axl by a piano, he would play November Rain. And I think that song and actually Estranged are probably 2 of the most beautiful rock and roll songs maybe of all time. And I think 20 years down the line, we'll still be hearing November Rain on the radio. It's a brilliant song. Now about the video. The video was recorded in surround sound, so if you happen to be extremely wealthy, you may have surround sound at your house, or even if you've got a good stereo system, turn it up because it's going to sound amazing. Visually, the video is completely amazing. It was done on film. And I don't want to spoil too much about it, so I'll talk to you a little bit after the video. I do want to tell you that the girl in it is supermodel Stephanie Seymour. And watch the video, especially real closely at the people sitting at the wedding table. Here it is, the world premiere of a very amazing video. Here's Guns N' Roses' November Rain.
Getting back to the wedding reception, we see glasses of wine, which is another metaphor for blood if you guys have read the Without You short story. We also see a funny scene of Duff McKagan dancing with somebody while smoking, which really shows his commitment to unhealthy habits. And then the next scene where we see Stephanie Seymour dancing with Axl's then bodyguard Earl Gabion. We also see another short appearance by Teddy Zigzag Andrietis, who's playing as part of the wedding band. Once the guests start fleeing inside or undercover, once it starts raining, we see a spilt wine bottle, and it's yet another metaphor for blood. So the next scene turns pretty dark. We see Stephanie Seymour in an open casket, and we see only half of her face, even though her face looks whole because there's a mirror next to it. So in the short story, Without You, she ends up shooting herself in the face, and normally in real life for people who suffer from head trauma, it's pretty normal to have an open casket with a mirror that basically looks like the person's entire face is whole. The next scene at the funeral in the church is kind of odd because we see a lot less people there than compared to the wedding, and it seems like people liked Stephanie Seymour, but not enough to come to both her wedding and her funeral, and most of the people at the seats are band members or people in the entourage. In the next scene, we see a grieving Axl, and Axl basically doing his best Warren Zevon impression. Now the next scene is kind of funny. Everybody is wearing the exact same clothes they were wearing at the wedding, with the exception of Axl, who has found some time to change clothes. The scenes at the graveyard seem like they were shot at the same location as the graveyard scenes in the Don't Cry video, as you guys can see here. One of the final scenes of the video shows Stephanie Seymour throwing her bouquet of flowers to all the wedding guests. You'll notice when she first throws it, it's white, but then by the time it lands on her casket, it's red. another metaphor for blood in the video. And finally, one of the strangest shots in the video is at the end when Axel wakes up from his dream. And when he first goes to bed, you don't see anything on his chest, but you'll notice there's some sort of wires on his chest when he wakes up. I'm not sure what the deal with that is, but that does it for some things you guys may have not noticed in the November Rain music video. Let me know your thoughts on it. Put your comments in the section below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you guys love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. You guys can also go check us out at GNRCentral.com for all the latest Guns N' Roses and related news. And we're also available on Facebook as well on Twitter. And you guys can also go support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching, guys, and have yourself a good one.